Oh, hello there. It's Wednesday, so it's Q&A time here on OTRS Central. Reminder, I do Q&As Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every week on this channel. Monday and Wednesday, you can tweet your questions to @OTRS Central on Twitter. Use the hashtag OTRS Central, please, so that way I know you're asking me a Q&A question. Friday, you have to go to the Facebook page for OTRS Central, and once I post a status asking for your questions, make sure you fire away. I try to get as many of them in as possible, and I hope you guys continue to give me your questions. I appreciate it. Like I said, it's always easy and enjoyable content, and I really like doing these videos. It's a way to be interactive, and I like that. So let me go ahead and get started here. Trinell_Sally asks, why didn't they fire Cena 2 on this week's Raw? Because that would have maybe made some type of logical sense, because it would have actually been a way for Cena to actually have some consequences to his actions. It would have been a way not to do the same old type of crap they always do with Cena. However, with that said, remember the last time they went with the Fire Cena storyline and how much of an abortion that was. So it might sound great in theory until you realize that everything Cena's character touches ultimately sucks. I mean, we have to be honest here. I mean, we have to really, truly be honest here. Does it really matter? I don't even think it really matters at this point, because they just found a way to screw that up, too. Let me see what we got next. Devin Allen JC, can you name one thing on this week's Raw that you actually liked? Maybe bring up a positive for once. That wouldn't kill you, would it? Devin Allen, here's the thing. Is that if the show sucked, it fucking sucked. I am not going to go out of my way to try and make up things to like about it if I thought the show was shit. You choose to view your 3 hours of watching it your way, and I'm going to choose to view it my way, okay? I feel like the WWE wasted 3 hours of my time on Monday night, therefore I'm going to be pissed off about that because that show did fucking suck. I am many things, and some of you have pointed that out at great lengths over the years, and you've been mostly right for sure, in most cases. But the one thing I don't think anybody can say about me, I don't believe anyways, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that you feel you get a bunch of phony baloney shit when it comes from me. You know that when I talk about something, whether you always agree with me or not, and a lot of times you don't, and I don't get why, but that's just the arrogance and magnificence of me. You know that typically when I'm talking about something, unless it seems like I'm really going out of my way to parody something, which in some cases, in many cases I can be, but you know when I'm being serious, and when I am being serious, you know that you're getting the real deal, and you know whether you like it or not. The one thing maybe that you could at least respect about me, if anything else, is that I give you the real deal. It's no bullshit. You feel like you're getting my version of the truth, so to speak. So I didn't think there was anything positive about the show. So how the fuck am I going to sit there and make anything up? I think it would make me lose credibility with the people that watch this channel consistently if I sit there and all of a sudden coming up with positive crap, and I'm not even trying to be funny about it, I'm just trying to be serious about the positive crap, and people know better, they sit there and be like, why the fuck would he say that type of crap? And then your analogy earlier on, I believe you had tweeted at me on Monday, was a completely idiotic train of thought. I did want to point that out too, Devin Allen. You were sitting there and saying that you watched Friends once or twice and didn't like it, so you stopped, so maybe I should do the same thing with wrestling. Ding dong, dumb dick. There is a huge difference between you watching a crappy television show once or twice and me giving up on watching something that has been a huge part of my life for almost 30 fucking years now. Did you have 30 years invested in Friends? No, the fuck, I don't think so. Shut the fuck up. This analogy is so stupid, and this argument is so stupid from the pro-WWE sheep. It is fucking moronic. Well, if you don't like it, just don't watch. But yet these are the same people that you'll see bitching about their sports teams consistently time after time. Okay, if they piss you off so bad and they frustrate you so damn bad, why the fuck don't you stop watching? Why the fuck don't you stop supporting? Oh, you're not going to do that, so what the fuck is the difference? Maybe instead of me having to stop watching, maybe they could just fucking do better. Especially when you know they can, especially when they've proven to you that they know how to, maybe they've forgotten to. Why the fuck should I be the one to change? They need to be the one to change, because they should expect and demand fucking better out of themselves. Exactly. So your argument about watching Friends once or twice is dumb, and this whole train of thought of if you don't like it, just stop watching it is fucking dumb too, period. Thank you for the question. Let's move on here. What do we got next? Somebody posting a feeling or a picture with Cena that's kind of funny, kind of not. Let's see here. 005 Classics. Is it possible to catch WWE Ebola? I don't know. You let me know if you ever find out. I'm not going to sacrifice myself for the greater good to try and catch WWE Ebola. Indeed. All right. Let's see here. The Owen says, I ask questions and they never get answered. We need to address this right now, the Owens. I believe there have been many times that I have answered many of your questions. Your name comes up, it seems like, in almost every single Q&A, and I appreciate that. And you go out of your way to tweet me questions, and I'm going to go out of my way to try and make sure that I answer those questions. However, with that said, if you ask me 5 or 6 questions, you should know from Jump Street that not every time is every one of those questions going to get answered. Furthermore, if some of the questions are questions I don't feel like answering, or I think they're fucking stupid questions, just being honest, then I'm not going to answer them. And complaining about it isn't going to get you anywhere. If anything, complaining about it and trying to sit there and say that I need to ask the questions is just going to make me less likely to answer the fucking questions. You ask your questions, make your questions good. You shouldn't have anything to worry about. But again, if you ask 4, 5, 6 of them every single time, 4, 5, 6 of them aren't always going to get answered. Accept it. Deal with it. So I'll answer some of your questions now, and then going forward, stop complaining about it. Got it? Good. All right, so your first question. What is the most overrated WrestleMania match of all time? Steamboat Savage as 3, because while it was a very good match at a very, very good WrestleMania show, I most certainly don't think it's one of Steamboat's best matches ever, and I don't even think it's Savage's best WrestleMania match ever. I think that was one of those things that with Hogan and Andre being the big money draw for WrestleMania 3, the more serious fans, that match not being their type of style, they had Steamboat and Savage to latch on to. WWE kind of pumped up that propaganda heavily on it. Guys like Meltzer pumped up the propaganda heavily on it for years and years. And I think it became a much greater match than what it actually is. If you go back and watch it, it's a good match. It's a very good match. But in all reality, if we're being completely honest, from a pure in-ring standpoint, it's not the cleanest match either one of these two guys ever worked, and it's most certainly not one of the 10 best WrestleMania matches of all time. I'm sorry, it's not. Very good match. I love that match. But people still call it the best WrestleMania match of all time. You're dumb. Just dumb. Head or pussy? Can't put babies in the mouth. You can put the seed in the mouth, but ain't no baby's going to grow there last time I checked. Maybe that's Triple H's problem of why he can't produce a son. He only puts daughters in the mouth. He tries to put sons in the butt, and it just doesn't work that way. Would you agree they should bring back the European title for Rusev? No, I don't. Life question. I'm 21, unemployed, living at home, searching for a job. Did I fail? I'm kind of depressed. What would 21-year-old Jeff do? All right, so first off, let's do this, the Owens. Let's sit there and say this. If you're feeling sorry for yourself, you need to cut that shit out. You need to cut that shit out right now. Now, second, anybody that's going to want to sit there and make fun of you for asking this question should be ashamed of themselves. Let me assure you, it takes great courage to be able to step out on any type of form of social media and tweet this stuff about yourself, basically saying, hey, I'm 21 and unemployed and I feel like a failure. That takes courage, that takes guts, and that's why I wanted to make sure specifically that I answered this question. You're 21. Dude, you're 20 fucking 1. It's highly, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's highly, highly ridiculous to consider yourself a failure at this point in time. You may be disappointed with yourself in your current plight in life. You may be disappointed in the path and direction that you're heading down. But again, you're 21. Okay, you're unemployed. You're living at home. Yeah, I understand. You're searching for a job. You don't feel like you're really doing that well. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, you're really not. But sometimes that's what happens is you need to hear honesty. The fact of the matter is you're really not. The good thing about it is you could do a lot of things to affect positive change in your life and be able to make something of yourself. You asked me what 21-year-old Jeff would do. Well, here's what 21-year-old Jeff would do. He would look at his current situation, and evaluate whether or not he really wanted to be like that for the next 10, 15, 20 years, perhaps the rest of his life. Once he determined, obviously, that he did not, he would figure out what steps would be necessary in order to achieve the goal of where he wanted to get, maybe, let's say, a year down the road, and then 3 years, 5 years down the road, what have you. And then I'd get to fucking work about affecting some positive changes in my life. You're saying you're searching for a job. How hard are you really searching for a job? Are you being too particular in the type of job you're trying to find? Or at this point in time, do you just need to find a fucking job, knowing there is no shame in having any type of job, no matter what the fuck anybody tries to tell you? And anybody that ever tries to shame you for any type of job you may have, shame on fucking them, not shame on you. You should be proud of yourself. Whatever you choose to do with your life, you should be proud of it, and you should conduct yourself as a proud man indeed. As far as the whole living at home thing, if you're still able to live at home rent free and maybe you are able to find a job, is that really the worst thing in the world? I understand you want to maybe strike it out on your own and do your own thing, and there come a point in time where you'll be able to do that. But in the meantime, don't cry like a wimp about it either. And I'm not trying to be mean here. I'm trying to be realistic, and I'm trying to be truthful to you, because I can tell you at 18, once I graduated high school, I had to get to work right away. And I remember my first ever job. Some people living in the Midwest might remember the old Eagle Country Market. I sat there and was working about 35 hours a week, making minimum wage at that time, which minimum wage, I believe, was $5.15. So by the time everything was said and done, on an average each week, I was bringing home like $100. I was living in a crappy-ass one-room studio apartment. When I say a one-room studio, I'm not talking about the type of studio that you see like Colt Cabana make light of. I'm talking about basically a 8 by 10 foot bedroom, and that was my fucking apartment. So I'd bring home maybe $400 to $450 a month with that job, and 200 of it would go to rent. So you can envision how lean times were. There was a lot of consumption of ramen noodles, buttered lunch meat, hot dogs, and cottage cheese. I assure you of that. Eventually, I went and found a second job at UPS. I sat there and was working about 65, 70 hours a week. And I started to affect some positive change in my life, but I worked my ass off. I had discipline, I had restraint, I had an eye on the prize, I was focused, Frankly, some of those traits at 18 that I wish I still had at 33, if I'm being perfectly honest. So don't sit there and beat yourself up, and don't sit there and, get mad at yourself or get down on yourself, because that's wasted energy. You're not accomplishing anything fucking doing it. So if I have any advice to you, stop fucking feeling sorry for yourself. Stop sitting there and getting sad about it, and go do something about it. Pick yourself up by the fucking bootstraps and make something out of yourself. You can do it. Now it's time to believe that you can do it, and then go out there and fucking do it. Okay, brother? Good deal. Let's see here. Matthew_Bizzle. Have you noticed the announcers saying the power of Reigns much like they do the power of Cena? Yeah, I kind of have. Mr. Tuxedo, do you think Rollins was only put into the title match to do the job? There's always that sneaking suspicion on my end that might be what he's in there for, is because they don't want Lesnar or Cena to eat the clean pinfall. Let's see here. Jake B. Conspiracy. Could you see The Rock coming back for this year's Mania, and why? No, I don't. Maybe for 32, but I just don't think his schedule works out. NJCT, this is a really funny question now. Kilo for kilo, is John Jones the best fighter in UFC? And he was asking this legitimately, like pound for pound, kilo for kilo. Well, I can assure you now, John Jones is definitely kilo for kilo, gram for gram, the best fighter in the UFC. Oh, heavens to Christ. Michael Corvin, you think Vince has a special Suck My Dick Club? Who would be in it besides HBK, Cena, and Triple H? Probably Patterson, probably Orton. Let's see here. Who else would be in the Suck My Dick Club? Yeah, those would be a couple of the other guys. Probably the Brooklyn Brawler. WWE 961. Can you name every WWE champion like you can U.S. presidents? I would be impressed. I'd be impressed too. I can name all the presidents forwards and backwards, but I can't name every WWE champion forward, let alone forwards and backwards. Let's see here. And then you also ask, what GTA do you play? I think my favorite Grand Theft Auto of all time is probably San Andreas. I don't really play much in the way of video games anymore, but to answer your question directly, San Andreas was probably my favorite of the Grand Theft Auto games. Jacob Castle 42, could WWE fix their WrestleMania 31 problem and give us an all-time moment by finally featuring Honey Beef Mode? Yes. 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 Oh my fucking God. Honey Beef Mode, WrestleMania 31. It must happen. It has to happen. Thanks to you guys that submitted your questions for this Q&A. I'll be back Friday